Right.
Hello and welcome to May We Recommend. This is a show where we talk about movies, music, and more. Joined with me today, as always, is Sean.
Hello.
How you doing today, Sean?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm well. And today we're going to be talking about The Game 1997. Feels so much newer than that. And it looks good,
Oh
too.
yeah.
I feel it really held up.
You know what?
David
You know
Fincher.
what I thought as I was
Hmm.
rewatching the game from 1997 is it could you
But Sean Penn has a really punchable face.
I like Sean Penn's face.
I know, but he just makes me want to punch him. I don't know what it is about
Yeah, I mean, it worked for his character for sure. Um,
it.
but it feels like it's sharing space, like it's in the same world as Fight Club.
Oh, for sure. There is well, I mean,
Is it the
should we give the breakdown of the plot? I mean, the plot is a
Are you
little
talking about the waiter though?
interesting.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, no, I
When
wasn't.
we get to that, it's something where a light went off in my head, and I was like, "Oh, cool."
Yeah, there is a very waiter tie-in, isn't
It
there?
feels that way.
Yeah.
It feels that way. The waiter that drops off the note and just kind of disappears. It feels like that could easily have been one of the space monkeys.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Like, there's so much to this that like could have been like it's like maybe post. No,
Yeah.
pre. Well, I don't know.
Well, it
Yeah,
feels like it
like
could be part of Project Mayhem.
it absolutely feels
Right.
like it's part of Project Mayhem. Now, let's get into what we're
Okay. Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about there. So, there is Nicholas Van Orton.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Van
right?
Orton. Yep.
Yeah, Van Orton, played by Michael Douglas. He's a rich guy, gets a gift from his brother, which is an invitation to play the game or a game.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to this company called CRS. I can't remember what that stands for.
Uh, it is like commercial recreational services, I think.
consumer
Consumer.
consumer recreational
There it
service.
is.
Yeah, and they take him, put him through this rigorous test, and at the end they tell him, "I'm sorry, you can't play the game. You're disqualified." But then weird stuff starts happening,
Yeah.
and he doesn't know whether he's playing the game or not. And well, I mean, I can't give away too much, right?
Right. I think that I mean,
I guess if we're going to talk about it, I guess, spoiler alert, this movie has a ton of
yeah.
twists. So if you want to watch it, and you really should, this is one straight up totally
Yeah.
recommend.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Stop the podcast now and go
I
watch it.
think Fincher is fantastic, and I think it's one of his more interesting um movies. And it's there's a lot of mystery. So if you enjoy whodunits, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's fun.
And twists.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of twists, constantly twisting.
Yeah. No, yeah, it is constantly twisting. And one character that you're just like, well, clearly they're not in on this,
Right.
you know, is like really pivotal.
Yeah.
So I do agree uh that this is what'd you say? It's a whodunit?
Yeah. It
Yeah, it kind of has
it
that
feels
element to
like
it.
it 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 has kind of a noir um vibe throughout it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it definitely will take you places. And I think for Fincher, it has a really surprisingly optimistic ending.
That's true, but it also does kind of end on a like, wait, is it
Yeah,
over? you know, like
yeah,
so that's fun. What you said that it's kind of got a noir angle to it, and I don't disagree with that. It has like kind of a Alfred Hitchcocky
yeah,
thing
yeah.
going too, where like it's almost a wrong man. Um, Paranoia is a huge thing of it.
Oh yeah,
Like the movie is just
yeah.
paranoia.
Paranoia, the film.
Like that, yeah, Paranoia the film, like that is what sums up the game, is like it makes you just paranoid. I can't imagine that you would be reborn after going through this.
Um,
Yeah, if anything, you'd be broken.
you know what? You know what? I think why it resonates now. Are you familiar with ARGs?
Yeah, I
So
am.
that's
I am.
basically what it is before the term
Yeah.
was, you know,
Augmented reality
yes,
games.
which are,
Yeah, I just would
yeah,
I hate when someone throws out an acronym and like the other person knows what they're talking about, but then we leave half of our
that's
audience in the
fair. So augmented reality games are games that you can find online that kind of blur reality. So they involve you, like, I mean, you go into it a lot of times, just you might be looking at a website and they have ways to pull you in where you don't even realize that you're playing a game, and that is exactly what this is, right? So he's been told. Hmm.
Well, I was going to say that in the early 2000s, our buddy
Yeah.
Miguel got an
Oh,
ARG,
wow.
and yeah, they would call you on your cell phone.
Yeah.
They would at certain times of the day. They would like it was fully
Well, yeah,
immersive,
that's exactly what
and
this movie is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, a little bit further than
Well,
that.
yeah. 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 I would be shocked if anyone's played a game to this level, but
Yeah, no, I would love it if that were the case, though.
yeah.
But yeah, I wish I could remember the one that he got. It was just really good. It told him to stay away from like flu vaccines and things like that. The government's tracking him. It was like a game of
Oh,
paranoia
so it's
for
just like
sure.
Twitter now.
Yeah, it is. You've got like Alex Jones calling you in the middle of the night, like Cheerios are making you
Yep.
trans,
Yep. Sounds like
which is something that he said.
yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, so like this show, this film, it really makes you feel a certain way when you're watching it. Like
Hmm.
anxiety, that's what
Yeah,
I'm looking
discomfort.
for. I said paranoia, but it gives you anxiety,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, you really
for
I
the character.
really felt like it kind of places you in his shoes because you know as much as he does.
It's true. And we're talking around it. We're not giving you the plot breakdown so much, is because first off, like I said, it's
Yeah.
twisty.
Super twisted.
Like, yeah, this happens, then that happens. He falls into a situation that leads to another situation. They're all implausible.
Yeah.
Like, you would have to fall and break your ankle the right way and roll into the street just to not get hit by this car that's coming by. Like that just seems
Oh yeah.
impossible. But but they make you it sells it. It sells it so that it is believable.
Right. You get caught up in it.
For sure.
Yeah,
Like a sinking cab.
but you start to wonder as it goes on, like, is it a game? Like, is it what he believes it is? So it takes you for a ride, because at one point, I remember when I first watched it in the 90s, it makes you feel like he's correct in his assumption that these people are out to kill him, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of it really I felt like um I was being you know puppeteered. I don't know if that's the right term. I just manipulated.
Yeah, no, I think that it is very puppeteered. Like there's someone pulling those
Yeah, yeah.
strings. You
I
know,
don't think that's a word, but I
like
used it.
I don't like it. Maestro.
Yeah,
What
but
is
just
a
just like
puppeteer called?
manipulated.
I'm going down this road.
Okay.
What is a puppet?
And anyone who's listening to this, feel free to correct either of us. You can call me an idiot. It's cool.
I thought you were going to give out your phone
Yeah,
number.
yeah. Like, well,
You can
in the
call me.
spirit of the film, go ahead and call me.
It's just puppeteer. I thought there was going to be a much better name for that, like marionette,
Right.
right? So you would think that you're like a marionetter,
Yeah,
but no, you're puppeteer. Anyway, that was a dumb journey, and I'll probably cut it.
that's fine.
But, although our last episode, minimal amount of editing.
That's insane. I feel like we talked.
Yeah.
I, did we went on a lot of tangents.
Oh yeah, no, I just didn't do a lot of
Oh,
editing.
nice. Nice. Well, I felt like I had fun with that one. So,
I
I
did
mean,
too.
if it's fun, it's fun.
Yeah, no, like the first half, because we did it in
Yeah,
two,
yeah.
remember? Yeah, the first one is kind of boring. So like the first 20 minutes is kind of like a little bit like it's interesting to
Uh-huh.
me, but we get real loose in the second half.
Right. No, we were having
And I
fun,
was like, "Oh, this is fun. I'm just going to keep it in there, We don't say anything that we'd regret.
which is a
So,
first for us.
uh yeah. I've just started marking the podcast as explicit too.
I mean,
Because
that's fair.
then, like if a few things get slipped out, then I don't have to look for them and cut them. Like even if it's not explicit, what does it
Right.
matter?
Yeah,
I'm not marketing to children.
exactly.
Well, actually, I kind of am. I want teenagers to listen to this
Exactly.
show, and
I'm just gonna agree
and
with you either way. Yep.
yeah, you know. No, I do. I want teenagers to listen to this show, and then like be like, wow, you're recommending a show about a guy who's haunted by his father's suicide on his birthday? That sounds
Yeah, but
great.
think about what they hear at school. It's so much worse.
That's true. That's true. I mean,
We're just a couple of old dudes talking about movies.
I know, like, this should just be called Nostalgia, the podcast. Like, here's some films I liked.
Well, I like that it gets into fruitless territory.
It does dip into fruitless
Yeah.
territory. That's true.
For anyone listening, that was a podcast we had what, like 13 years ago?
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like that.
it's a while ago.
Definitely. So I'm going to say this right off the bat. There's not a whole lot we can talk about in this film. I think we picked a winner, and sometimes that's hard to do. And since it's so elaborate, and like what is nice about it is I can talk about surface level things. Like it's shot extremely well. Like it is a gorgeous
Oh yeah.
movie. A lot of it's at night, like it has like the wet streets, a lot of Hollywood tropes, but it's just fun as all hell
Yeah.
too. You know, like I can sing the praises of this movie. I'm gonna say we wrap up within 20 minutes on this film and we just talk about whatever we want because guys, just watch the
Yeah.
movie. It is too good. I can't tell you anything else about it, and I don't think we spoiled enough. I need you just to go see it.
I
And
I
now we talk about Dune 2.
I agree. What I was gonna say is it's also a movie that's really fun, multiple viewings.
Yeah, I found it held up
Yeah,
really
yeah.
well.
Even
Like I know what's going to happen in
exactly.
the end, but I enjoyed the ride getting there.
Yeah. And you pick up on
Yeah.
some things.
Yeah, there are subtle clues, but you know what? One of the major twists, I felt it again.
Well, what's funny is I had forgotten about it. And
Yeah,
so
me
it was
too.
really nice because it was like, oh wow, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. So are we gonna give a like a loose telling of the plot, or how do you want to go
Well,
about this?
I tried at the beginning, like I knew we got into the whole augmented reality from
Yeah, yeah.
CRS, but like I don't know if we should give a loose telling of the plot because that'll just give away too
Okay.
much. I mean,
That's fair.
there's a rich guy that gets messed with.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
birthday
and that's not even like, yeah,
he's I'll say this, like his character is extremely like wealthy, like stupid wealthy, and comes across as extremely isolated and lonely, which is it's kind of interesting for the character because there isn't, I can identify with like loneliness, but he's so wealthy. I don't know anyone who could relate to him, you know. Is the kind well, there's a scene in the movie. He meets up with his younger brother, right? His younger brother is Sean Penn. And you get the idea that his brother is kind of a little bit of a loose cannon, maybe a disappointment.
yeah, he's kind of a fell
Yeah,
son.
maybe, yeah, a little bit of a disappointment, hasn't lived up to their father's legacy is kind of he's a black sheep.
Yeah.
Um, he he calls Michael Douglas and leaves a message with his secretary, and she finds Michael Douglas and says, "You got a call. I didn't, um, I didn't put it through because I figured it was a joke." And he asked, "Who's it from?" And she said, "Seymour Butts." And so he knows right away it's his brother and tells her to set up um, the lunch. Yeah. And he says, "Use my name." Yeah. He's like, "Use my name." But so what I thought was interesting is they're at this really nice restaurant, like 5-star restaurant, and Sean Penn sitting there at the table, and he pulls out a cigarette and lights it up, and Michael
Hmm.
Douglas tells him, like, "Put it out." He said, "No." He goes, "It's illegal to smoke in restaurants in California." And he says, like, "Screw California." And this guy is powerful enough to where, like, no one bothers his brother about the cigarette. That's
And he makes a point of that. He's like, "I'm with
right.
you. What are they
Right,
gonna do?"
exactly. And so
Yeah.
this is the level that you're introduced to this character, like he's totally unrelatable. And as the movie goes on, you start to be able to relate to him. And I think that's kind of the
Uh-huh.
point. And
It's very
yeah, yeah.
humanizing for
Well,
sure.
and we can go into that later. Again, I don't want to give anything away, but
I know, and that's the hardest part. I think you did a great job with the setup because it's all about that preamble.
right. That's
Like you get to know this character, and like it's not that you would loathe
no,
him
no.
or that he's detestable in any particular way. He's cold,
Yeah,
you know, a little
he's a
bit,
killer.
but like
Like just like a shark. He's an investment
right,
banker.
right. I was like, "Mm, yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess, yeah, he's cold
Yeah.
hearted.
Yeah. Super,
Yeah,
super meticulous. Everything is about money. You get the idea that so he has an ex-wife, right? And you get the idea that they split. Well, Sean Penn asks him how his wife is. So you see they haven't talked in quite some time. And he says that she's
yeah.
divorced, and he makes a reference that I think is funny because he says that she was either married a gynecologist or a pediatrician. Like
Or a
yeah,
pediatrician.
like he couldn't make that distinction. But
Yeah,
you get the idea that this guy has sacrificed everything for his work, right? So he is
yeah,
almost a robot,
yeah. Like yeah, exactly. He's got no real personality to speak of.
right?
You
Except for
know,
money,
I yeah, yeah. He's like if you took Wall Street and made what happened to what was his name?
yeah,
Gecko?
Gordon Gecko,
Gordon Gecko. And you gave him an It's a Wonderful Life
right?
movie.
So so it's basically just Michael Douglas because that's the character he plays in every movie. I just realized.
Yeah, it's just Michael Douglas having an It's a Wonderful
Yeah, yeah.
Life.
Um,
I think yeah, that sums up this movie pretty well actually. He's not
no,
suicidal per se.
no. And he's forever living
Yeah.
in his father's shadow.
Yeah.
His father had committed suicide when they were boys, and you can
Yeah, from the
yeah,
pressure.
yeah. And you can see that like he lives his life in a way to kind of that would make his father proud. I think he's trying to live up to that,
Yeah.
where his younger brother probably isn't. But also he has money. So it's just probably family money.
His brother or
His
him?
brother.
Yeah. His brother, yeah, his brother's that's an interesting one,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Like, it doesn't really explain how he's doing because it almost feels like he's going to ask for money,
Right.
but at the same time, he seems to be kind of
Yeah,
set.
he's definitely sad. And so I think that they both had money, like inherited money, but um like Michael Douglas's character is a successful banker. So he's got his own money too. But
Yeah.
um one is definitely a free spirit and one is just kind of, chained to his work.
Yeah, and I think the one who's a free spirit definitely has some other issues
Oh
going
yeah,
on. I mean, none of them are issue free,
right.
you know. But I find that do I find it unbelievable? Like the Sean Penn
Uh-huh.
character, I can't remember his
It's
name.
well yeah,
Conrad.
here's the thing too. His name is Conrad, and he gets called
Yeah,
Connie, which is con,
that's interesting.
right?
You know, again, I think I want to cut that short because, like, I don't want to spoil
Well,
anything. Like,
I
I
don't
love
think
this movie so much.
I don't think that's spoiling it. I think drawing attention to his name isn't necessarily spoiling it.
Yeah, there is something off about him,
Yeah.
though.
Oh, 100%. Like
Yeah,
Douglas asks him if he's been taking his medication, and he says no. And I
yeah,
feel great, and it's because of this group, this game. So
yeah. He says he
yeah,
doesn't need
I
it
don't need it
anymore.
anymore. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about. I don't want to spoil anything. So we should have picked a different movie.
Yeah, we should have picked a different movie. This is the episode where we realize we should have.
But
Well, it's another one of the episodes where we
well,
realize we should have picked another
here's the
movie.
thing though, and you can cut this if you want. But if we
Sure,
tell people there's spoilers and they want to listen to it, you know,
then that's
that
on
is
them.
on them. But we would just have to say, like you said, I think people should. So, with, okay, I'm going to go ahead and say this. With any movie, I think you should go in with as little knowledge as possible, but some are more important than others. This is, I think, really important.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. This one, you like any knowledge of something that like any knowledge of the major twists
right.
could
Well,
ruin the film for
it's
you.
this is a Fincher thing too. So with Fight Club,
Yeah.
it's the exact same way. Fight Club, you should go in
Hmm.
blind and just let that
Yeah.
movie like wash over you. And this is the same way.
You and Panic Room, you should go in blind and just let that movie stay that
Oh,
way.
you see, you could have said
Just
you
stay
should go in
blind the whole
blind
film.
and deaf.
Yeah, actually, just just feign like you're going in.
So, Larry has a friend named Sean, which is actually not me.
Mhm.
And Sean,
And he has cornrows like
he
Jared
has
Leto in that movie.
cornrows. This is what I've heard about this guy. And the way Larry described him in a previous podcast, he sounds really cool and handsome. Um,
Yeah.
and so I don't want to dog on this guy, but I know this guy likes Panic Room, but hasn't seen it in about 20 years. So
I
this
know,
guy
I
is
know.
probably gonna say Panic Room's good. And
I don't think this guy would say that
well,
still. I
oh,
don't.
but
I think I'm gonna call him up after the show and I'm gonna say, "Listen, Champagne Sean,
he can't go by
I
that.
need you."
It doesn't sound real.
That's his name. That's his name. He goes by Champagne Sean.
Huh. You know,
Yeah, he has tight Jared Leto
I
cornrows
probably wouldn't like this guy. He's got part of his name's
and a
really cool.
gangster limp.
But all I'm going to say
Yeah.
is so Fincher has a way of constructing his films that are really engaging. And I think that, you know, whether you go to see The Game or Fight Club or Panic Room,
Hmm.
the less you know, the better.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Fight Club's been ruined
Oh,
and
yeah,
parodied, and I think they did the ending on Simpsons even.
yeah.
Um,
Probably.
but yeah, uh, yeah. Oh man, it made me think of that. Like, I can't remember her name now. Is it Darla?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah, the
look
girlfriend.
at me, Darla. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me, Darla. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Is it was Darla? No, Marla. Marla Singer.
M-
Yeah.
Marla. Is that right?
Yeah,
Marla.
Marla.
I was
You were
close. I was
super
close.
close. And I mean, just as close as I was, because you said Darla, and I go, yeah.
Yeah. No, oh, man, Fight Club. I have never seen or I never read the book.
I did. Yeah. Yeah,
You
I did.
did. Yeah, I started it. And I think it starts off with naked dudes on a beach.
Yes. Yeah, he meets Durden on a nude
Yeah.
beach. The endings are completely different, and I will say this, and actually, uh, Chuck, is it Palahniuk? The author of Fight Club has gone on record and
Yeah.
said the film is better, and I will agree. The film is better.
The film is great. The problem with the film, and I find this with a lot of things that uh, they are great, that have a message, is people don't understand the message and they really like it. Like 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 you get bros that love Fight
Right.
Club and also love
Ye-
Scarface and they don't get
Yeah,
the message behind it.
yeah, it's a complete misread of the film. Well, I just recently talked with someone who, after watching Dune, thought that Paul Atreides is a great guy. It was like, uh, I think you misread that.
Like Paul Atreides doesn't think Paul Atreides is a good
Yeah, yeah. I,
guy.
I think you misread the themes, or maybe didn't read them at all. But that's fine. People,
Yeah,
it's fine if
no.
people don't get it. But with a movie like Fight Club, it's just comical.
Well, there's a point in the middle of Dune 2 where he's like, if I do this path, like billions of people will die and it'll all be my
Yeah,
fault.
and like, I mean, the whole thing is kind of a warning against religious extremes and charismatic leaders, and
Yeah.
you know he
Yeah, no,
he he
totally.
he pulls basically a Heisenberg. He becomes someone else.
I didn't watch a Breaking
Oh,
Bad,
well,
because I'm a
well,
hundred years
Walter
old and I
White
called it that.
pulls a Paul Atreides.
But I know enough of it to know what you're
Yeah, yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah. So,
It works both ways.
what were we just talking about?
Um,
Paul Atreides Dune. I'm re-listening to the book. I'm not
we
reading it.
were.
I got it on audio tape so I can listen to
Oh,
it at
that
work.
counts. That counts.
Hmm. I've read it enough times that, like, I don't feel bad about now
So,
listening to it. And the recording for it is so
well,
good. It's
oh, I was just gonna say that's the thing. Like, pe- people get snobbish about the distinction between reading and listening.
I know. Why does it matter how I get the
It doesn't.
information?
It does not matter.
Yeah,
You're still listening to the words. You know.
my people have a strong oral tradition.
All right.
The
That's cool.
illiterates. But no, this one has a narrator that tells you all descriptors of what's going on, but it also has some voice actors in it that read the
Yeah, yeah.
lines.
So I've got the Dune audiobook. I love it. I've read the book, and the audiobook is great. And
Oh, I wonder if we have the same version.
I don't know. I got mine on Audible.
It's unabridged too.
Yeah, so it's mine.
Yeah, so it's like 21
Yeah,
hours
yeah.
long.
I think it's actually longer than that. It's really long. But
It's
I
very
can't
long.
stand that
The
snobber.
book didn't seem that long to me.
Really? L- I'm
Yeah, I did not feel like it was like a real fat volume.
right. I will say that
But
like Herbert's command of the English language is I don't know that the way Dune is written, if someone said this
Mhm.
is the greatest book I've ever read and I've never read writing of this caliber, I'd say, yeah, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I think, isn't given enough respect in the broad spectrum of things. Like J.R.R. Tolkien,
Mhm.
right? Everybody respects him, even if you don't know who he was or read his books. You've seen the movies that came out, and you're like, oh yeah, the high fantasy
Right.
guy, crazy good. Like and fair enough, he invented a genre.
Well,
But
yeah.
yeah, but like I'd put Herbert right up there.
Oh, definitely. I'd say he's the Tolkien of science fiction. Yeah.
Absolutely. But it is fun that his sci-fi has less to do about robots and lasers
Right.
and more to do with like desert people and like
Yeah.
politics.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
I mean
so,
it it's really offbeat science fiction, and considering when it was written, it makes it even
mhm.
more incredible that like you're not
Yeah,
dealing with. I
absolutely.
mean, there are some like I guess how you it's up for interpretation, but you could easily make things like David Lynch did it, right? With some hammy robots. And so it could be cheesy science fiction, but that's one thing I like about these new films is um the world comes off
They're
as
very good,
very
but they
sleek.
you know, they talk I think the films are phenomenal. Do not get me
Hmm.
wrong, and I'm not detracting from them at
Yeah.
all. Um, but uh, Dune, the new ones have a flaw in them that like people are talking about how close they are to the book, and they are so close to the book, but they change some pivotal things
Yeah. Well, I told you my
to make it work. Yeah, yeah, you wanted to write off a sandworm.
well, no, no,
Is that
no,
what we
no. But I still that would have been badass. A woman leaves me, I ride off on a
got?
sandworm. That's cool, right? No,
Yeah.
but I look at the different adaptations of Dune as like different
Hmm.
gospels, right? So
Oh yeah, you
yeah,
mentioned
and
that.
so they're the
I
gospels of
I
Paul.
totally like that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so they're they all have different aspects, all the film adaptations, because there was the Lynch's Dune, what in '85, and then in 2000 there was
Hmm.
the Sci-Fi Channel miniseries, which is good. It just
Yeah.
the budget, you know, they didn't have the budget,
It could.
right?
Mhm.
Like what Dune needs
Yeah.
is like the Game of Thrones budget, and
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, that would be the amazing treatment to it. Like give it the full 7
yeah.
seasons. Yeah.
That's what it needs.
Yeah.
And so like you're getting like if you take all of these different um adaptations, they all have
Mhm.
some strong points and weak points. And so like I like all of them for different reasons. And it's just a wonderful story, no matter how you tell it.
Yeah. I there are certain things in there that I really like, and they keep the elements of it. Like you're talking about it as
Hmm.
gospels. All of them have the main key elements to
Right.
them. And but like the variations, like you have your direct telling, the correct
Hmm.
telling, the Herbert 1965
Yeah,
book,
yeah.
right? And then the visual adaptations of it, where they start to
Hmm.
stray, and you're like, well, was that in the book? I don't remember, you
Right.
know, like yeah. Uh, um,
Well,
but there are things in there that like well, Otis and I were talking in Dune 2, he threatens uh spice production with the nuclear
right.
family warheads, where in the book I believe he threatens it with just water.
I believe you're right. I
Yeah.
can't
Uh the Fremen water fountain. So dismissive, but yeah.
yeah, I need to go back and revisit the book, which would be in audio form because I'm not a snob.
Yeah, no, I'm listening to it now, and I tear up every time. Like, like I don't know why this book emotionally resonates with me, but even like tell me of your homeworld's waters, Usul. I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
so
What?
fantastic.
Tell me of the waters of your home. Yeah, I really really like that a lot. I like how Chini, and that's how I prefer her name to be, is Chini. Uh,
See, it's just another gospel.
but I like that she's much more supportive of Paul.
Yes. So he there were some choices made with her for
Hmm.
this new telling, which like
Yeah,
it's crazy to me that like he made a lot of changes, but
yeah,
all of them feel like he is a fan of the original work, and
Yeah.
he maintains a level of respect, I think.
Yes.
He keeps the spirit of Dune is there. But yeah, her character was changed quite a bit, but I think it works. I like all of it. That's what like. I know there's
Yeah.
people who hate David Lynch's Dune, and that
I love David
yeah,
Lynch's
it's
Dune.
great.
I'm a huge Dune fan. I am. I was telling you, I never really considered myself to be a Dune person. Like, it was never like my personality is Dune, but man, have I loved
Yeah,
that for so
so
long.
did.
Like, there's something so deeply nerdy about me that I just like. I like the deep cuts, you
Yeah.
know.
So for me, Dune
Yeah.
is as good as like the original Star Wars trilogy. Like, and
Oh yeah.
it's cool to me now because I was talking about this with it was probably you, but like 20 years ago, right? Maybe even 10 years ago. If you told someone that you were reading Dune, they would assume that you'd never touched a woman, that you'd
Yeah.
never
It
felt the
well,
warm embrace of
well, I
someone
don't
who
think we
loved
were
you.
talking about this.
Huh?
I don't think it was you and I talking about this, but I completely
Yeah.
agree with you. Like, if you said that I'm a Star Wars fan back when, like,
Like,
95, right? Like, I really like Star Wars, they'd be like, nerd,
right.
you know? Like, but like, after the nerd uprising of the early 2000s, it really changed the course
Oh,
of history for
oh,
all
really?
nerds.
And what's funny is now, I mean, tons of people who had never been exposed to Dune are going and seeing these movies because I think largely because of the cast, right? And
Yeah.
I love
Mm.
the director, so I'll just go and watch anything he
I
makes.
don't know. The people who were fans of this cast would also have to be fans of like movies, like No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
You know, like or I mean, Timothy Chalamet was fairly an unknown to me.
Well, maybe to you, but he's been kind of a heartthrob for a while. So, like, I know that when I went and saw Dune 2 the second time,
Mm-hmm.
there were people there, like gaggles of young women that I
Yeah.
don't think they were Dune fans. um,
Well, see, now you might just be being a little misogynistic.
no, no, I think
You're like, oh, they're only here for
one of
the
because
Chalamet.
one of them was saying like, "What is this?" Like this.
Okay. Well, that
Yeah,
is a pretty good clue.
but what's cool about this now is now it feels like the story is getting the respect it deserves. Like people are going and seeing the movie, right? And
I don't think I could see a 3-hour movie just because I thought the lead actress was attractive.
oh man, I probably could.
Just 3 hours to stare at a person you find
Yeah, I probably
fascinating
could.
looking.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Um, but now if you like Star Wars is bad again. So,
Is it? Is Star Wars bad again?
I mean, like Disney, like whatever your take is, it doesn't have the prestige
Oh,
that
I
it did.
see. Yeah, Disney ruined Star Wars. They say that. Okay, so that's really weird to
Okay.
me. The whole Disney World ruined Star Wars because everybody who says that also really like The Mandalorian.
Hmm. So that's a fair point, but it could be like a broken clock situation, you know.
I don't know.
Um.
Like they were putting out some pretty quality
So
shows.
so I'll say this: I enjoyed aspects of The Mandalorian, and
I like
I
The
really
Mandalorian.
liked Rogue One, and I know I'm in a minority there.
Rogue One's fantastic, and Andor
So I
was
haven't watched
amazing.
Andor yet. But what I'm saying is like Star Wars, like it used to be, right, that when something Star Wars related came out, it was an event. And now we hit this point where we're getting Star Wars material every year. And For me,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. No, it's
yeah.
oversaturation.
It's for me, it
Yeah,
feels like what they did with the Marvel universe. I got so burnt out of superhero movies that I just don't care.
yeah. Back to
Okay,
Andor. It feels like if
sure.
THX
Okay.
1138 was set in Star Wars.
Oh, cool. I love THX.
Yeah, yeah, I do too. I like that one. You were saying about Superman?
No, no, just got burnt out on superhero movies. So I just
Superhero
don't
movies.
care
Yeah,
anymore. I really don't.
I know. I same thing happened to me. I was like, oh my gosh, there's another Marvel
Yeah,
movie coming
yeah.
out.
Well, I thought Endgame. Honestly, I didn't realize.
Should have ended
Well,
it.
I thought it was, and then they started. What do they call them? Like eras? There's a term they use. It's not season. Age might be age, but they're in like
I don't
age
know.
5 or something now, or 6. And so
Hmm.
Endgame ended. It was an ending to just like that
Yeah.
universe. And for me, that was, except for the Guardians films, because I love those, and they don't feel like superhero movies
Yeah.
to me. Um,
Right. I like this new Spider-Man's actually.
I've heard those are good.
With the one kid, I can't remember his name. He's marrying
Yeah,
Cheney.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Um,
remember his name either.
Cheney. Um,
Johnny.
yeah, I can't. Chani. Chani. Uh, yeah, I can't remember what his name is, but like those movies were pretty good.
You know what would be fun? What we
Mm.
should have done before we talked to Dan is we have a mutual friend who is a Dune fanatic, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember years ago I got into an argument, and I think you did too, about huh?
Is it
Yeah, yeah,
Amanda? Let's get
yeah.
her on.
If you,
Let's see if she wants to do
if yeah,
Dune,
you,
David Lynch's
oh,
Dune.
that would be so much fun, and we could talk about the new Dune because she like, I mean, I say like, oh, I'm a fan of Dune. Anyone looks like a poser up against Amanda. Like,
Oh, she had a chinchilla named
yeah,
Muad'Dib, and this is before any of this was
yeah, yeah.
popular.
No, like legit. She's like a Dune scholar, you know, and so like years ago we flipped each other shit. Um, in
Yeah.
fact, I don't even know if she'd remember that, but I was very much a fan of. Well, I'm a fan of most of David Lynch's stuff, and I've always liked his Dune. Um, even though he doesn't like it.
No, he doesn't. No, and I don't know if Kyle MacLachlan likes it either. I'm not sure if anybody involved with it other than maybe Sting,
Yeah.
uh, like like that movie. But I love
Oh,
that
it's so
movie. It is
good.
like I was telling you, it's one of my sick day
Yeah, yeah.
movies.
Uh, you should let the people listening know what a sick day movie.
Oh well, it's a couple things. So, sick day movies are obviously that they're the movies you watch when you're sick and you need comfort food. Uh, and there's so like there's something that just you put on when you have a fever or you're bedridden. And I have about four of them. And then Sean, you have what?
I've
You have
got
two
two. Yeah,
two go
yeah,
tos, but then you got some others on roster, right?
yeah. I mean, I've got stuff. I've got one that I always watch, which is The Shining, and there's a long weird story that I don't have to get into. But yeah, and then let's see, Point Break, and if I'm feeling really goofy, Reindeer Games.
That's so
Yeah,
goofy. Is that really
yeah, yeah.
true?
Yeah.
Oh man, that makes me so happy to
Did I
hear.
tell you? And like, we don't have to keep it in, but I built my entire proposal to my second wife around reindeer games.
Oh, that's
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, you
Because
did.
I was like,
And I
she
think
would refuse to watch it, and it became a joke. Because I'd be like, "You want to watch reindeer games?" And she'd go, "No," you know. And I would ask her a lot. And so when I was getting ready, like I had the ring, we were going away, and she thought it was like for an extended for like a birthday thing, right? and I packed this movie, right? I had ordered it. I got it on DVD and I didn't tell her. So I had it and she figured it out. We're sitting there eating dinner, and the place we were staying at had rooms and a restaurant, and you could rent a DVD player and take it to your room. And I was like, oh, they've got a DVD player. We could watch a movie. And she looks at me and she goes, you brought reindeer games, didn't you? And I was like, no. And my whole plan was it was going to be a joke because I was like, if I make this part of the proposal, she can't hate it. Yeah.
I think you unironically like reindeer
I
games.
I have fun with it. For me, it's so bad that it's good.
And that's perfectly fine. I love Harley Davidson
Oh,
and
I
the
know you
Marlboro Man. I'm not gonna apologize for it. Like, it is okay, I am gonna apologize for
do.
it. I know it's a bad movie. I know that's a bad movie, but, like, something about it just rubs the right
Yeah,
thing
it's
for me.
fun. It's fun to watch something so bad that it's good. And that varies
Mhm,
from person to person, but when you find something that was made, it's all about like intent, right? So it, to see
mhm.
someone who their intent was to make a fantastic film and they fail so
Yes.
hard. And so the movie is taking itself seriously, you know,
See, I don't even put it into the so bad it's good
really.
category. Yes, I put it in, I think it's good to me.
Oh, well, I mean, when I say so bad it's good, I mean that like it becomes good to to you. Like I feel that way
No,
about
no, I meant like, where you watch a movie to make fun of it and it's so bad that you're enjoying
Mhm.
it, like Torque.
Yeah, Torque's a great example.
Like Torque is a very fun movie that is just
Yeah,
abysmal,
it's like
but everybody's doing their best in that film.
yeah. I mean, they're trying.
Yeah, they're trying. So, anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to say our next one is going to be David Lynch's Dune, with or without
Okay, yeah,
Amanda.
let's do that.
Hopefully, with.
Give me an excuse to rewatch
And
it.
yeah, I think it'll be fun. All right. I will talk to you later. And when we return, we'll return with David Lynch's Dune.